Welcome back. Well, 62% of South Africans think President Cyril Ramaphosa is doing a good job. This is just part of the findings from the Pulse of the People survey. The research looked at South Africans' opinions on a number of different issues. You've got Ipsos SA Director Mari Harris, who joins us now to discuss some of those findings. Mari, thanks for joining us this evening.
Good evening.
Interesting findings. One may say that we're either going through Ramaphoria still, or we're slowly moving into Ramaphobia. Which one is it?
Neither of the two. Usually what happens just after an election like we had with Nasrek at the end of 2017, that next survey we do, in this case it was May 2018. We do the surveys in May of every year and November of every year. The May 2018 survey, we can see a definite spike in what people thought. At that stage, 70% of South Africans were saying that Ramaphosa is doing a good job. It has gone down, as we know, over the last year and a half. In November, we measured it at 62%. However, it is still a lot better than we ever measured President Zuma.
Yeah, but he was at about 24%, I think, before he went to Nasrek at the end of May. It was just before the Nasrek conference. I think his stats were sitting at about 24%.
It was sitting at 24%. Currently, the people who say Ramaphosa is doing a very good job is 25%, and then 37% who are saying he's doing a good enough job.
But then if you have to compare the fact from the time that he actually took office, right, with that 70% to now 62%, I don't think that we should downplay that. The fact that people are now past the euphoria and the Tumamina spirit. I think that we understand, send me, but if you're going to send me, can there be tangible outcomes from you being sent? And is that not what South Africans are literally asking for at that moment?
That is exactly what South Africans are saying. We're also seeing in the survey that Ramaphosa is more popular than what the ANC is. More people support him than what support the ANC. There's more trust in him than in any other political leader or in any other political party. For that matter, a large part of South Africans say there's no political party that reflect their views. So what they are saying with the 62% of trust and of confidence in Ramaphosa is basically saying, look, we give you almost the permission, in a way, if your citizens can give you permission as a president. You have it. Just do it now. They are saying, you know, as you say, no longer this Tumamina Ramaphoria thing. People do not care that he's in a party that has a lot of factions. They see him as the president. They have trust in him as the president, as we see from the results. But now they also want him to take it. To basically say, we give it to you, take it and do something with it.
Take ownership of the seat that you actually worked so hard to actually have. To
occupy,
right?
But then also do not mistrust South Africans because they support you. And in a way, I don't think it is a direct thing to say get rid of the detractors, but I think to a large degree it is almost saying that we can do so much more, we can be so much better if all these things that are hamstringing us, that are keeping us back, are not there.
Let's talk a little bit about how the provinces are faring with regards to their view on President Cyril Ramaphosa. You can see that those stats are on your screen for those who want to know exactly what do South Africans think of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Quite great insight as we're going into the State of the Nation address tomorrow night. But when we're looking at some of the provinces, how are they faring, Mari? Who are the provinces that actually are showing more trust towards the president and the ones are showing the least trust?
If we look at the provinces, 8 out of the 9 provinces are measuring higher trust now than what they did in May 2018. So, yes, there was a little bit more of a slump May last year, but it's coming back up. And we see the only province where Ramaphosa did not increase the share of people who have trust in him is in the Northern Cape. It can be one
January
of two
8th statement
things.
May not necessarily have done anything to help salvage the matter.
The January 8th statement was very well planned because it was in the province that
did not have trust.
So convinced that this is the right step. So perhaps that changed after January the 8th. We don't know yet.
We have to wait for the stats that come out later.
We have to wait for that. But in all the other cases, he's measuring better than what he did in May 2018. And I think, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, that's a very important thing, because there's always questions about how well will he do in KwaZulu-Natal with the legacy of ex-President Zuma, but he's doing extremely well in KwaZulu-Natal.
And when it comes to other political parties, I do know that, right now South Africans are sitting at a point where they feel as though, because there's no political party to represent me, I'm going to side with the lesser evil, right? It's more the case of nothing works. I'm just going to pick the evil that I can live with, really, at this moment.
To a large degree, if we look at the support for parties at this stage, it's 55% for the ANC, 13% for the DA, 8% for the EFF. But we have to say this is not a prediction of an election, because now we're talking about all South Africans. We are not talking about the 10 million who didn't register. We're not talking about the 10 million who didn't go and vote. But if we look at the stat that is talking about the how little trust people have in political parties, it actually is a big onus on politicians to do something before the local government elections next year, because people have very little trust in municipalities. They especially in a place like Mpumalanga, absolutely no trust. They almost don't want to vote in local government elections. Political parties really will have a hard job in the next year and a half to convince people that it makes sense to go and vote in local government elections, that is where you have to make a difference first before you can start making differences on provincial and national level.
Well, I'm actually talking about those statistics that you're speaking about. I mean, they're quite startling. I mean, given the fact that it's about 4.45 in terms of the trust index when it comes to your local municipality, right? And then you're looking at the government in the provinces sitting at about 15.86. Trust in parliament is sitting at about 20.6. But 4.45, and when the local government elections are just around the corner, it says something about either people may not show up when it comes to voting at the local government elections, which obviously then is going to bring a huge matter, especially around political parties as well as formations of coalitions. Number two, also looking at where the fact that South Africans are just not happy where they're at. They're not happy, and they don't trust the people at a local level to represent them.
That is very true, and it says a lot about the legitimacy of democracy if people do not vote in local elections, because that's really where people can make a difference, where the local municipality is responsible for your roads, the refuse removal, all those sorts of things. And if they can't get that part right, we know how many local municipalities are under administration and are not getting clean audits and all those sorts of things. And unless we get that level of government right, I do not believe that political parties will really succeed in building trust in either the parties or the leaders.
And of course, going into the State of the Nation address tomorrow, the President has got a heavy weight on his shoulders as he tries to appease detractors, as he tries to calm South Africans down, especially now that youth unemployment is seen more as a crisis. We do understand that various unions want to even protest or go up in arms against the youth unemployment and the level of unemployment, saying that, listen, we need to do something about it. And these figures play quite significantly in terms of what South Africans will be thinking or their view of the President that will be delivering that message come tomorrow.
That is, he can make or break it tomorrow. And in the end, he has to deliver that message and give South Africans hope. He was talking about a new dawn 2 years ago. Now, we need to show South Africans that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, that there is a new dawn somewhere, that we know that the economy is very, very bad, but there are well thought out steps in this economy, and he has to take the population with him. He can't say, well, I'm shocked at the results I see, whatever. It has to be concrete, because people will believe him if there are concrete results.
Mari, we're going to leave it there for this evening. Thanks a lot for joining us and shedding some light in terms of the popularity of the President. Ipsos SA Director Mari Harris giving us the latest on that.